Hi everyone, hope you all are doing really well, and this is manual testing interview questions. And please subscribe to my channel and click on the notification button so that you'll get notified whenever I'll upload a new video. So I think some days back I've put in a poll and I have just seen the ratios and I've seen the more vote on manual testing interview questions. So I'm gonna make it a video on manual testing interview questions, maybe in part 1, part 2 and part 3. So based on the how people reactions, so based on the people reaction, I'm gonna make part 1 or part 2 as well, or part 3. So let's not waste time and move ahead with the question and answer. So which is, what is different between SDLC life cycle and STLC life cycle? So a software development life cycle is a process used by software industries. These are the two important topics which we mainly go around with these topics, and a lot of interview questions based on things. So most of the people who are very new to the software manual testings, or maybe then the testing backgrounds, and those who have wanted to move into, they just messed up, and that's when the interview caught them. And because they don't have the proper answer what has to be speaking, there are a lot of data, a lot of things are there into the internet, and what has to be what exactly the process, they don't know. So this is how this video gonna help them, that to filter out all the content and give it. I'm filtering out all the content is available in the many of the websites. I'm filtering out all those things and give it to you, fresh content which will be really helpful in terms of your interview. So SDLC and STLC two life cycles, wherein SDLC is followed by the developer and the STLC is followed by the testers. But these are the both the cycles you should be knowing what developers are doing and in what phase, what develop in, like if developers are doing a design phase, so what testers are doing in that design phase. So those are things that people are comparing and needs to know, because this is something you follow in day-to-day basis of in your so in a tester's life cycle, or the tester's working day. This is their roles and responsibilities, right? This is their day-to-day activity. And yeah, so it's like used by the software industry to design and develop test high quality softwares. The SDLC aims to produce a high quality software that meets or exceeds customer expectations, reaches completions within time and cost estimates. STLC, it's a software testing lifecycle, is a sequence of different activities performed by testing team to ensure the quality of the software or the product. STLC is an integral part of software development life cycles, but the STLC only deals with the testing phases. So in the next slide, you're going to have the complete, you can take a snap of it. You will be having the complete description. This is how it is. So requirement gathering, requirement analysis. Okay, we'll go to this SDLC life cycle. So requirement gathering, analysis, design, coding, testing, deployment. So they will be doing their unit testing. Okay, this is how they'll be doing. Developers are like they'll be gathering all the requirement and see all those analysis they will be doing based on the requirement, which is compatible or not, what can be developed, which is suitable for development or not, and they will start designing it. And then they'll be designing it, they'll make the architecture of it, and then they'll start coding. They'll do the assignments within the team, then they start coding, and then they'll perform the unit testing of their code, and then the integration testing of their code, and then they deploy it to the environments. And then similarly we have the STLC life cycle, which has been followed by the testers. They'll be doing the requirement analysis, they'll understand the requirements, they'll go through the requirement, they'll do exploratory testing at that requirement analysis. They'll see the proper requirement has been given to them, they understand the acceptance criteria of requirements. They'll do test planning, then the test planning they'll define the test strategies, which all environment is needed, what are the entry exit criteria for them, and what all things are needed, if there are the data dependencies on which all applications has been impacted. So those all things they'll be doing. So once that is done, they'll start designing their test cases. They will be seeing the environment is set up, has been done for the new requirement which is coming or not, and at that time when the developers deploy their code, the environment is up available or not, test execution, test closure, right? And and each steps has their deliverables. Okay, so those all things you will be knowing. Okay, now move to what are the different levels of testing. So as I said, unit testing, integration testing, system testing, and the acceptance testing. Unit testing is like aims to each part of the software by isolating it and then perform the test to demonstrate that individual component is correct in terms of fulfilling the requirement and the desired functionality. It's mainly done by the developers. So what happens is they develop the code into their local, and then they'll perform that whatever code they have developed in their local is working fine into the server or in the environments what we have it. So they'll be testing that they want when they test it in the unit level, their code only. So that is called unit testing. Integration testing, when multiple developers integrate their code and test it out into the environment and check it out whether all the merge of the code is working fine or not. That is called integration testing. And when they merge the code, they give it to us, and when we test it in our test environment and testing it out whether the functionality is working as expected or not, that is called system testing. And acceptance testing, once we give the green signal, okay, then when we test it thoroughly with all the bugs raised and fixed, and we did the thoroughly regressions and we are okay that everything is as per the requirement, we will give the green signal, and then user will test. So that is called acceptance criteria, where they see, okay, they have completely worked on the acceptance criteria. These are the acceptance criteria, they have fulfilled all the criteria, now it is being accepted by the users. So in terms of most of the organizations, the users and the performance, the BA will perform the acceptance testing, and different kind of there are different kind of stakeholders into the system. So yeah, so explain the steps of that goes through the discovery to resolution. So that is defect life cycle. So we all usually know new, assigned, open, fixed, retest, close. There are stages: defer, reject, duplicate, and if the bug is not fixed, it is again reopened and again reassigned. So we'll have the detailed description in the next slide. So tester finds a defect, the status will be new. Development project manager will or dev lead will do the analysis of the defect, and the analysis based on these three criteria: is it valid, is it valid defect, is it in the scope, is it already erased. So is it a valid? Yes, that is a valid bug. Is it in the scope? Yes, that is in the scope. Is it already erased? If no, okay, then developers start fixing the code. Status will be in progress. Code fixed, status will be fixed. Tester retest the code, and then when the tester retests the code, if that test pass, yes, status will be closed. If that test doesn't pass, status will be reopened. Now, is it a valid defect? If it is no, then status will be rejected. Is it in the scope? No. If it is not in the scope, status will be deferred. If it is not, if it is already erased, yes, then the status will be duplicate. So this is the clear picture. You can take a snap of it and you can go through with that. I think this give you, and this is all the explanations a person needs from your end. So what is the difference between a test case and test scenario? So a lot of people get confused between test case and test scenario. So many people will ask you in an interview, tell me the test scenario for this and tell me the test case for this. So people are get confused if they don't experience how real-time things work. So test scenario is defined as any functionality that can be tested. It is also called a test conditions or test possibility. Example, to test the login functionality. Okay. Test case is a set of action executed to verify a particular feature or a functionality of a software application. A test case contains test steps, test data, precondition, post conditions, developed for specific test scenario to verify any requirement. Example, test login with a valid username and the valid password, then invalid username and a valid password. So these are the test cases we have it. The test scenarios can be tested with more than one test case. What is the difference between functional and non-functional testing? Functional testing is a type of testing which verifies that each function of a software application operates in a conformation with the requirement specification. It tests what system does. A non-functional testing is like performance testing in the security. Non-functional testing, non-functional aspect of a software application. It says how system performs in a function. For example, like you will be testing a login functionality. How does it work like expected or not? In a non-functional testing, we may test the performance of the system when 100 user logins at the same time. So when we should start testing in our project? So software testing should start early in the software development life cycle. This helps to capture and eliminates defects in the early stage of SDLC. That is the requirement gathering, design phase. An early start to testing helps to reduce the number of defects. Ultimately, the rework cost in that. So there's a principle like early testing saves times and money. I'll tell you the graph in the next slide. So how early testing will help you. For example, if you can understand. So early testing is like if you find the bugs in the very early stage, for example, developers will give you in a chunks of code, like he will give you A piece of requirement, then B piece of requirements, and C. So if you have got A, so if you find the bugs in A, okay, and okay, in the early stage, like he has given you one piece of code, you find the bugs in that, and then you immediately tell them, and then they start fixing the A bug, and they'll give you the fix of that bug. So they're not merging any code with that buggy code. Let's say you have not tell them in the early stage, and then A and B and C code get merged. Then you find, okay, there's a bug in the A stage itself. There was an initial code itself, there was a bug. It might impacted B and C as well. So then again, developer will gonna fix that A, and then again you have to test and find it out where and all it has been impacted in B and C. And again, it's a rework for you. Lot of time, lot of energy, a lot of money has been wasted, because the time is the money, right? Then B and C. Then again you have to perform, once developer fix the code, developer has to fix A, B and C code, and then you again have to test A, B and C, wherein if you find it in the A itself, you only have to test A, and the developer only has to fix the A code, right? So this is how it is. If you don't have the clear written user requirement, how can we test the software? Work with whatever little documentation. This is the managerial round question. So whatever little documentation you can get on your hands, you can ask doubts to the product owner. You do the exploratory testing. You could you only like to take the current software what we have it for the future release of a software product, and you can talk to your teams and understand. You can sit with the developers and ask questions. You can explore the application and ask, okay, this can be like, for example, you have some you have some requirement which is dependent on something, and you need something to come up. You can discuss with developers, you can discuss with the product owner, and then they can help you out with. We'll see if we missed the previous slide. Okay, these are the managerial questions. This is again testing question. What is the exploratory testing and why do we use it? Is an approach to software testing that is concisely described as simultaneously learning, test design and test execution. So you have to learn, you have to test design, you have to do the test executions, you have to do a lot of analysis. So is used for two reasons. So when we don't have a time to design the test cases and there's a poor requirement, so yeah, that's when you use exploratory testing. A defect which could have been removed during the initial stage is removed in the later stage. How does this affect the cost? As I told you, there's a graph, right? I'll read it out. The cost of defect identified during software testing completely depends on the impact of the defects found. So if it is a small defect, that is fine, that is not impacted defect, that is not been affected the entire code. Like for example, there is some piece of requirement, like for example, there is a drop down, it has to be in 4-5 pages. So if the spelling is mistaken, one drop down, if that has been impacted, maybe the data is missing in the drop down, 2-3 data is missing, or maybe there are a different set of different data is there, like the incorrect spellings of different data has been there, and that drop down has been present in 4 or 5 places, that has to be fixed, right? So those are like, if that is a spreaded requirement, there is a spreaded functionality, and there's a bug, and if you didn't find it earlier stage, and then you have tested in multiple environments and figure it out, and that will be really cost effective. It's depends on the impact. The earlier the defect is found, easier and less costly is to fix these defects. For instance, if there is a defect found in the project requirement specifications analysis, then it is relatively cheaper. So when you do the analysis and when you see the gap in the requirement, if you don't find it, so once you start testing it, right, then you find the gap in a requirement, it will be very difficult. Like if you find in this test stage, it will be very difficult to come back and do that. And let's say in the operations, when it is completely developed and user find it, it will be like very cost effective, right, software. Then the product design is corrected and then reissued. However, if defects somehow get missed by the tester, if they are identified during the user acceptance phase, then it can be way too expensive to fix such type of errors. So I'll tell you. So what happens is, how businesses work, I'll just give you the brief about it. So for example, if some let's say Facebook is for everyone, right? So Facebook homepage or profile page, so you might have seen. So similar kind of application we have to develop in our organization. Okay, some X application, some X company want us to develop the page for them. Like they want home page and the profile page. So they gave us, like initially the contract, they want us to develop home page and the profile page. This is how they want us. Okay, they'll give some raw idea and the contract has been won. So for example, they gave us 100 crores. अब 100 crores we said okay we will give it into 3 months. Okay, if we do poor, if we follow the proper procedures, we will be able to develop it into 3 months. We got 100 crores for it. Okay, 100 crores for 3 months, because time is the money. Let's say we have not followed the proper approach and we have taken 4-5 months, so there are a lot of losses. You will not get that 100 crores ka 150 crores. You will only get the 100 crores. Only thing is your customer, maybe in the next time they will not come to you and give it. So you are again, maybe they'll about to give you 200 crore ka business in the next phase, but you have already wasted there 2 months again, right? Time is money, right? You have wasted 2 months because of you didn't follow the proper testing or the development or the requirement thing. So it will be like the testing you didn't people didn't do properly, so they have taken 2 months of time. So 2 months may we have, people will have to get the salaries and everything, right? So we only have that 100 crore ka 3 months we have to give it, but 3 months ki jagah we have to give it into 4 and 5 months, right? So again, this is how it is, this is how business works. So that's the people will say that if you committed 3 months, if you keep on rework, you will not gonna end up good money or things. So that's why we follow agile, that the moment we bring out change, because we are very agile in terms of it. So that's the thing. If people we don't do that's the we do parallel testings with the development. There are a lot of automations in place. Why we have it into these things? Because we require a lot of testings. So that's the reason we have it into these things are there. So I just give you the brief of it. If you want me more, you can connect with me. I'm gonna give you the detail of it. So what is change related testing and why do we use it? What is different between confirmation testing and the regression testing? That is retesting. What is retesting and the regression testing? So retesting and the regression testing are the two types of testing. So retesting, when you find a bug, right? You find a bug and the bug got fixed, then again you have to test the same functionality where the bug occurs, and you will be testing whether that functionality is working fine or not. That is called retesting. Regression testing, with that bug fix, the existing functionality should not get affected. So you will be testing the existing functionality which was working earlier. You will be testing that, and thus this new fixes does not affect that existing functionality which was working earlier, which was working fine earlier. What is the difference between black box, white box and the gray box testing? Black box testing is a software testing method in which internal structure, design, implementations of the item being tested is not known to the tester. So it's like black box. You will be testing username, password and the login function, login button. You will not test the what is there under that UI and what code has been written, whether they have put in try catch block or not, whether the exception is being cached or not. You will not be testing that thing. So in the white box testing, you will be doing the code level testing. So maybe whatever has been written inside it. So testing is a software testing method in which internal structure, design, implementation of the item being tested is known to the tester, like what has to be tested. Like for example, in terms of DB, you have to test what data. So that kind of white box testing you will be doing. And gray box testing is gray box testing is a combination of both the things, that you will be testing partial internal structure of the application, and the purpose of gray box testing: identify defects due to improper code structures or improper use of applications. So that kind of testing you will be doing. What is waterfall method and how it is testing performed? So it is like this definition is very important. That's the reason I've put it into the last slide. Take a snap of it, and this is the exact definition you have to tell. It's waterfall method illustrates the software development process in a linear sequential flow. This is linear sequential flow. That means any phase in the development process begin only if the previous phase is complete. In this waterfall model, the phase do not overlap. So this is how you have to tell. The phases are requirement, design, development, testing, deployment and maintenance. So this is how it is. Okay, this is the complete. You can take a snap of it. Maybe I'm fast. So yeah, this is the exact definition you have to tell, guys. Don't say time. It takes a lot of time to do one step and all those things. We don't want to listen. Yeah. So thank you for your time. Please subscribe to my channel. Please show some love, guys, and just support me out. Like my channel, like my videos, put out a good comments. I really wanted to hear. I really need your motivation, guys. And again, if you need part 2 and part 3, I need your comment, and how this video helps you out. And definitely, if I'm fast, you can take a snap of it, because these are very basic questions. I want to make it boring, so that's the reason I've just make it fast. And all the best, guys. I think this is a great time. You can start again these 2 months left for this year. Start preparing. Maybe the new year will have come up with a lot of opportunity. If you're still starting it from now, still you have a 2 months to be in the race. Yeah, thank you so much, guys.